So, after one of the longest seasons ever, I think this is the longest season ever, 355 days, so almost an entire year, the season is finally over and the Lakers won the title. It was a very dominant game six. I mean, it was not even close from the beginning. The Lakers went on a very big run. They were up, the most was like 34, which is ridiculous. They were just doing everything right, and that was the right moment for them. And now they're the NBA champions. The Lakers did it in 6 games against the Heat, and let me first just say the Heat didn't give up. Even you can even take away the last game, game six, but the Heat definitely didn't make it easier for the Lakers. Because a fifth seed in the finals against the top team in the West, everything was expected to be a wash. It was expected to be either a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. The Heat weren't supposed to really make this series all that interesting, but they did. They really did, and I'm glad they did because such a young team with so much potential and so much heart and grit. They fought to the very end, and I love seeing that. They were like an incredible team to watch this season, and I can't wait to see what they do next because with the way that culture is, they're not going to be satisfied with what happened last night, and they're going to want to come back and do the same thing again. They're going to want to fight harder to make sure that they actually win the next time. So, kudos to the Miami Heat. They really fought it out. Watching Jimmy Butler play in his first finals was incredible. He left it all on the court to the very end, and you could tell last night that he was very tired. After that game 5 where he did not rest a bit, he left it all out there for the last second, and I love that so much. So the Heat really did something special this year, and I feel like I don't want to take away any from that at all because this is something that is going to be historic, and this is something that people are going to talk about for a while, that Heat run. So I love seeing that. Kudos to them. But the Lakers, they did it. When the season started and when Anthony Davis came, I remember people saying that, oh, did the Lakers give up too much for Anthony Davis? They gave up so many young guys who, in their view, had potential, like Lonzo Ball or Brandon Ingram. But, they were like, oh, you gave up too much for Anthony Davis, who may not even do enough for the Lakers to win the championship. And, there's going to be all the arguments about, oh, the Lakers had an easy run this year. But I disagree, wholeheartedly. It's not their fault that the Clippers got blown the 3-1 lead. That's the Clippers' fault. It's not the Bucks' fault that they lost to the Heat. That's their fault. So the Lakers just did what they're supposed to do. And you can't complain about that because, especially with this bubble, because this was a neutral environment. There was no home court advantage. There was no fans. So you couldn't say that there were any other factors other than the game itself. This was a neutral environment, so everyone had an even level field. So, for the Clippers to not do what they did, for the Bucks to not do what they did, that's on them. The Lakers have no say in any of that. They don't control that. The only thing the Lakers do is control who they play against and how they play in those games. And they did everything, They won in 5 against Portland. They won in 5 against the Houston Rockets. They won in 5 against the Denver Nuggets. And they won this series in 6 games too. So the Lakers did everything they were supposed to do. So I don't think that the complaints about, oh, he had it easy, this was the easiest path, this is a Mickey Mouse ring, I think that's all stupid. This environment made it even, I wouldn't say make it tougher, but it's a unique environment, and I think it's what makes it so special because, I'll take the headphones off, but I think it's part of what makes it so special, such a different environment with everything going on this year. So much has happened, especially with the pandemic, but for the NBA to do what they did, shout out to the NBA, man. They really pulled off this bubble perfectly. No positive tests, no incidents, it was a perfect environment, and it just worked. They were able to play basketball, they were able to finish the season, and they were able to keep everybody safe. So the workers who worked in that bubble deserve all of the love and support because without them, there would not have been a bubble and there would not have been any basketball. So I feel like that I really want to I'm really trying to focus on that because that's so important, and I really don't want that to get lost in this conversation about the bubble and how successful it was. The workers made it happen. Let's just get that out of the way first. They made it happen, so shout out to them, and I hope that they get the appreciation that they deserve. for doing what they did, because it's not easy. 90 days away from family and all that stuff. It's not easy. So for them to do what they did, it's incredible. And I love that. But yeah, I mean, think about this bubble. And I'm going to probably do another video on this, probably like recapping the bubble itself and how it was such a success. That'll probably be a video later in the week. But man, this bubble just worked perfectly. We had some of the best basketball. We had so many great moments. We had so many great games. We had so many great highlights. So many great things happened in this bubble, and it was just so great to watch. And for the Lakers to do what they did is incredible. Let's be clear, anytime a team wins a championship, you can't take that away from them. So I'm happy for the Lakers fans. First time in 10 years, doing it for Kobe this year especially. I think that's awesome. I feel like you can't really take away from that. I could imagine a Lakers fan growing up, especially my age. I'm 20. So, like, I could imagine, like, a 20-year-old Laker fan watching Kobe grow up and do what he did, and then watching LeBron come in and do what he did. It's incredible, and I could imagine how much excitement that would be if I was a Lakers fan. So, I'm happy for Lakers fans, Some of them are very toxic. They sent Danny Green and his fiancée a lot of horrible things and death threats after Game 5, which, I mean, that's a whole separate issue, but I'm happy for them. A team winning a championship is a big deal. And I can only imagine what it's like to see that, to watch your team do that. I'm a Bulls fan at 20 years old. I have not seen it. I wish I do in my lifetime. I hope I do in my lifetime, but, we'll see. But, man, it was cool to watch, though, the Lakers do what they did. Like, everything just worked in Game 6 for them. Like, I don't want to talk about the game that much because, like, what is there to talk about? The Lakers just did everything in that game. Rondo was terrific. 19 points, barely missed. Making all the big plays defensively, hitting threes. He was doing everything. I mean, so many like incredible parts of this championship, and there's so many different stories. LeBron wins his 4th ring. He wins his he wins 3 Finals MVPs with 3 different teams. His 4th Finals MVP. Anthony Davis gets his 1st championship. Rondo gets his 2nd. One with the Celtics, one with the Lakers. That's very interesting. Dwight Howard. Man, you want to talk about a redemption arc? Dwight Howard has a real big redemption arc. He was one of the best players in the league, the top defensive player. He was an MVP candidate. He took his team to the finals, and he did all of that. He was one of the best. And then he had such a big downturn in his career. He was a journeyman playing for all these different teams, not knowing what was next. But he came back to the Lakers, and he said that this time would be different, and he was right. And it wasn't that he was just tagging along. He actually played really well, and he was very disciplined, and I think that that's so cool to see. So with Dwight Howard winning his ring, on top of all of the incredible things that he's accomplished in his career, he's definitely a Hall of Famer now. So is Rondo, but yeah, Dwight Howard's a Hall of Famer too now, because he has all those accomplishments already, and now he's a champion. So that's just another thing to add. What else is there? J.R. Smith, he wins his 2nd championship. He was shirtless 3 minutes before the game ended, which, peak J.R. Smith, it's hilarious, but you love to see it. Caruso wins his 1st. I mean, man, those Lakers fans, they love Caruso, man. They love that guy. So I'm sure him winning is cool. Kyle Kuzma wins a ring. Oh, boy. Kyle Kuzma wins his ring. Mr. Hot Damn Hot Water, Hot Shower. He wins his 1st ring. What else is there? JaVale McGee wins his 3rd. That's crazy. There's Taylor Horton Tucker. Dude, THT for that Lakers team, he's younger than me, right? And he's an NBA champion. I read the stat. He's the first player born in the 2000s to win a championship. That's insane. And it's not, and he was, whenever he didn't play a lot, but when he did, he was actually not bad. So that was cool to see a guy younger than me win an NBA title. That's cool. Kostas Antetokounmpo is the first brother to win a championship before Giannis. That's a whole story in itself. There's just so many great stories with all of this, with the Lakers winning. So it's really cool to see. I'm happy for the Lakers fans. They deserve this. They fought hard, and they made this happen. It's cool to see, man. But the NBA season's over, and there isn't really much on what's going to happen next year. We really don't know. We don't have a proper start date yet. Adam Silver said that it's going to be probably sometime around mid-January, mid-February, which isn't too far away, but it's not confirmed yet. So we're going to have to see what happens. Are there going to be fans in the stadium? Are we going to be playing in the bubble? Are we going to do stadium stuff? What's the whole thing going to look like? We don't know yet. I'm pretty sure that it all depends on when we get the vaccine. That's a whole different issue, but we'll see what happens next season. Now we got to look forward to free agency opens up in a week. There aren't really many exciting things to happen with free agency, especially with how crazy last year was. This year's going to be very underwhelming, but, we'll see what happens. I'm sure there's going to be some moves that are going to be interesting, so, we'll be paying attention to that. The NBA draft is in a month. I know for me, as a Bulls fan, that's probably the one thing I've been the most excited about. We have the 4th pick. I'm excited to see what we do. But yeah, this was a great season. With everything that happened this year, it's been such an up and down year, but I think I'm so happy that the year ended. We actually had a full season, even if it was longer than the others, and we were able to crown a champion. I think that's great. Such a big success. It's great. The Lakers did it. Congratulations. I'm sure this ring with LeBron's going to add to his GOAT conversation. That's a whole different thing, but, that'll be a debate that happens on ESPN for the next, 3-4 months until the season starts. We'll see what happens, but, yeah, I think that's going to be it. I'm excited for next year, too. Let's be clear. There's a lot of really interesting factors going into next season, and I'm probably going to do a video on that, too. So be on the lookout for that. My next videos are probably going to be a recap of the bubble and then the excitement that I have for next year and just giving my thoughts on it. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be my next few videos soon. And from there, I'm basically going to just try to figure out what I'm going to do with this channel with no basketball for now. I'm definitely going to do stories. I'm going to do some interesting topics that come up. Probably be talking about the Bulls because, I'm a Bulls fan and that's what I'm going to do. There's going to be stuff to talk about, so don't worry. Even with the season ending, I'm going to have some great stuff to come out, some great content. I'm going to make sure that I have some good stuff to come out, some high-quality NBA basketball videos, because that's what I do. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you think of the Lakers winning it all. And, if you haven't already, please subscribe, show your support, and, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.